What is up, ladies and gentle nerds? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today we are going back to form with a random magic card for Overthinking MTG episode 72. Thank you so much for the comments and the likes on the deck tech yesterday. I appreciate that very much. All right, so now today we are looking at a random card, and what is that card? Well, that random card is Jungle Wurm. This is from Mirage. It was printed at Common. It is a 5/5 for 5 Wurm, summon Wurm because it's the old school language, old school templating, and it has so it's okay. So it's a 5/5 for 5, 3 generic, green green. So we got a green creature, 5/5 for 5, big fatty is what it is. Cool. So and then the text on it. So the rules for each creature assigned to block it beyond the first, Jungle Worm gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Okay, I thought there had to have been I thought there had to be a catch here because cards that are this old are almost never right on curve, especially in green. So the idea of a 5/5 for 5, I just assumed there was an issue. There had to be. There's no way that it was just a vanilla 5/5 for 5 because even that was like too good in some cases. Like look at Crawworm is like a wonderful creature from back in the day that is considered like a staple green creature or at least a classic green creature. And if I'm not mistaken, it's like a 5/4 for 5. Like that's it. It's just a 5/4 worm for 5. It's just vanilla. It's been in a bunch of different sets. I think I have like 7 or 8 of them from 8th edition. Like they were just sort of everywhere, and they're just kind of meh, like big time meh. I mean, and actually nowadays with power creep and everything, they're like full on unplayable. Like they're truly terrible. Meanwhile, Jungle Worm, you get one toughness bonus, except it doesn't freaking matter because the thing is going to get weaker the more you gang block it. So if you like, this is terrible. This card is like full on unplayable. This is the first card that I'm willing to look at and go, this is unplayable. Okay, noted here on the show. I love finding weird, janky ways to use cards. Um, and usually, like the absolute worst case scenario, it ends up being relegated to a haha moment in a commander game. But like this doesn't even really satisfy that because it's just like it shows a serpent in the artwork that looks fairly imposing actually. Artwork by Tom Kiffin, which is actually done pretty well. I mean, it is like a classic fantasy like oil painting of a large serpent slithering through a forest, and it's got these big frills and it's very like kind of aggressive looking. Like I get this, it looks to me like the cover of a paperback fantasy novel that I would expect to find in a bookstore in that was published in like the 80s or 90s. Like that's what I would expect from like and for that it's perfect. Like it's very well done. The artwork. Card's terrible, but no, the artwork. The flip side of that is like it's just like right down the middle. Like because if a card has really horrible artwork or really like awkward artwork and an effect that's kind of like meh, then like the moment you play it, you can get like, some chuckles. But it's like, yeah, I'm gonna play this card. Haha, it's a 5/5 for 5. But it sucks because you can block it with 5 goblins, and I don't even get to kill any of them on the way out because for some reason the power is reduced when it gets blocked by multiple creatures. Like it doesn't make sense, So like, yeah, you don't even get the chuckles from this. Like it's just it looks like it should be a good card. It has all the recipes, like all the components, all the ingredients. Yeah, you got 5/5, 4/5. It's from Mirage. You got rock solid artwork. It's a worm because if you wanted to do some tribal worm stuff, you could do. That's out there. There are a lot of worms. I don't know. It could be one of those fun kind of off the beaten path tribes to build some jank around. So okay, like whatever, that's all fine. But then that ability. The reason this ability is so freaking terrible is there's a couple of use cases, a couple of examples. So if you're swinging at somebody and they don't have any blockers down, great. You get a 5/5, you're going to hit them in the face for 5. Cool. In a world where Questing Beast exists, this thing is just no, just full on no. You can find vanilla 5. I would rather have a Crawworm than this, 100% all day, every day. And that's not even very good. I would rather have a Visidrix than this. Like, it's just, yeah, there's so many vanilla creatures that you could slot into this spot. Like, yeah, just no. Sorry, I'm like getting really. Um, I would rather have a Mere Enforcer as the only artifact in my entire deck than this. So, and that would be a 4/4 for 7. Just and that's terrible. Anyway, so with Jungle Worm, the reason that this ability sucks if is so if I swing at you with a 5/5, you have no blockers. I hit you for five. Great, fine. Again, there are a million better ways to do that. Now, if you do have a blocker, okay, I swing in, you block with the one creature, and all of a sudden, my Jungle Worm just becomes a 4/4. So in combat, so it's like a negative Bushido effect. Bushido was a keyword in Kamigawa that whenever a creature became blocked, it got +1/+1. So the idea was if it's attacking a player, it's not going to be as strong, but if it is met in combat, it suddenly buffs up and becomes more aggressive and tougher. So like, okay, that kind of makes sense. The idea of well, it was mostly on samurai. So the idea is, when you become blocked, you're in kind of a duel, and so maybe they're more focused or something. I don't know exactly. Like Flavor Flav, don't quite get it. But this is like the exact opposite of that, where it becomes weaker the moment more people are coming at it. Like, and I'm trying to think from a flavor perspective how that works. And to be honest, I can't really get there from here. Like, I don't understand. I don't see anything about this. Like, it's not the timid jungle worm. Like the moment you have something like that, like, okay, then like it gets freaked out the moment somebody is attacking it, or the moment somebody's coming to intercept it, it might freak out and like all of a sudden be less effective as a result. Like, okay, that would kind of make sense. I'd buy that. And then the more people, the more blockers that it has coming at it, the more scared it's going to be, because more intimidating it'll be. Okay, like that would make sense. So if this exact same card was the timid jungle worm, then there would be an opportunity for like some silly artwork, which would be fun. And then the effect would kind of make sense, like flavorfully. It would all kind of click together. Um, and so flavorfully. So the other thing about that is, like, so if I swing in with this, and you have three blocking creatures, all of a sudden you can throw all three blockers at it, and this 5/5 all of a sudden becomes a 2/2, and you have three blockers hitting it. So the chances of like trading this thing down in combat are just like astronomical, just through the roof. It's just this thing is just bad. Like, it's just bad. There's no way around it. Okay, and it does have flavor text. Oh, and the other thing about that is that minus minus occurs like three or four phases before damage is even dealt. That's well, no, it's one combat step, but it's well before damage is assigned. So what ends up happening is the power is actually reduced. If you can block this thing with five creatures, you okay? So let's go with me here. Here's an interaction that just gets me thinking that I think would be kind of funny. It's a weird little it's a moral victory, as I like to say. So if I'm swinging with this 5/5 and you have 5/1/1 life linkers, let's say you're running like Vampire Tribal or something. So for each creature, okay, so for each creature assigned to block it beyond the first. Okay, so the first one is a 5/5. So okay, I was doing my math wrong there. So let's say you have six life linkers. You can choose to block with every single one of them against this 5/5. And what would end up happening is you have six blockers hitting it, and so as a result, Jungle Worm is going to get -5, -5. Your life linkers do not even get an opportunity to deal damage and therefore gain you life, because Jungle Worm is already dead as a state-based action just because you declared your blockers. That should never be possible. That is awful. And the idea that the attacker is what causes that is just, oh my goodness, this is just another level of suck. Okay, so there's some flavor text. Let's go ahead and see, maybe some flavor text is going to tie this together into something that at least makes sense. That's all I'm looking for right now. I just want this card to make sense. It doesn't, I can't imagine any deck that would run this. I can't imagine a single reason why you would want to have this. Um, Like, it's not even in the right colors, so you can't even put it in a Zedru deck to just hand to somebody to bum them out. I mean, it is a blocker. It is a 5/5 blocker that you can hold back, so that's something, I guess. Like, but ugh, it's anyway. This card is just it's making me sad. It's just genuinely making me sad. So flavor text: broad as a baobab and about as smart. Okay, so it's stupid. That's the angle that they're trying to go on. Now, that's what it says in the flavor text, but there's nothing about the artwork that leads me to believe that. And so for each creature assigned to block it beyond the first, it gets -1/-1. So if it's dumb, or if the idea is that it's just not smart, I'd imagine that's similar to Flummoxed Cyclops, which is a card from Theros, where if with the most recent Theros Theros Beyond Death, that if it attempts to, or if If you attempt to check it, check that, reverse it, take a step back. Okay, if you're being attacked by more than two creatures, it cannot block. And its artwork clearly shows a Cyclops like swinging its club and looking over its shoulder as if it's confused as two like humans are running past it. And so it tells the story like, oh, this thing gets overwhelmed really easily and it just like locks up and freezes because it's confused. Like that makes sense. And that is depicted and that works within the way that the card functions. Like so that like tells a story. I understand exactly what the deal with that thing. Now Jungle Worm here is just a dragon. Like I'm just looking at the picture. That's just a dragon ass dragon. It's not. I mean, so okay, it being called a worm, like it doesn't have wings. Okay, fine. So you got a worm. You got a worm ass worm. It's just a big old worm, and it's just cruising through the forest, being a big old worm. That's it. Like I don't understand how I'm to take that and the name Jungle Worm and understand that as a result, it becomes discombobulated and ineffective in battle the moment there's multiple people. Um, and the difference between Jungle Worm and Flummox Cyclops is it modifies its ability to defend, whereas Jungle Worm, it's impacting its ability to attack. So there are slightly different twists on kind of the same idea. The idea that the creature is deficient, and that's what's causing this downside to occur in combat. I mean, mechanically, I like that idea. If you took this exact same card and made it like a 7/5, okay. Like then all of a sudden, like you've got a little bit of upside that's ahead of ahead of the curve to deal with this downside. Because if you're going up against a large group of, if you're going up against an aggro deck or a token deck that has created a lot of blockers, this thing is just dead on arrival. You just do not attack with, like, don't attack with this. Just don't. It's a huge waste of your time. It's just gonna get killed. Now, if you're going up against somebody who only has one or two blockers, then all of a sudden you have an interesting math equation that you're handing your opponent. However, they have control of it. So they can modify the power and toughness of your creature in their favor just by playing the game. If they had to like pay life to do it, or they had to um, discard cards in order to, or even pay mana at the very least, then they would have to give up a resource. They're just blocking it. And actually, the more aggressively they block it, the better the effect gets. So this is just bad, guys. This is really, really bad. But it's an interesting take. It's an interesting card. This is also a common, and it's from Mirage, so this is very old as well. Like very old. I mean, it is. Um, it was a while ago that this got printed. I want to say it's what 20 years. So I mean, it's been a minute since something like this has seen action. And this was a common. This wasn't designed to be like a bomb rare. This wasn't designed to be a splashy card. This was designed to be a filler in packs and, to be draft chaff. And for that, I guess it's fine. If I'm in a limited deck where, I just need a big blocker, on turn 5, all right, like are probably worse things, especially if you're drafting Mirage. But I don't know. I'm just all in all, man, I find this card really unimpressive, and it's designed in such a way that makes me, um, you know what? Okay, I would be very disappointed if I found myself having to play this, but at the same time, I would feel really, really good, like deep down in my soul, if I actually beat someone with this. So that's what this card is. If you want to just totally flex on your opponent and just dunk on them, hit them with this for lethal. If you can pull that off, you're just showing I am way better than you, because that is the magical equivalent of beating somebody with one hand tied behind your back. That's what this is. This is a way to tie one hand behind your back when you're going up against somebody who's talking a lot of crap. If you want to do that, if there's a benefit for you doing that, go for it. If you can find a way to make that work and actually execute on it, good for you. Okay, so that's the place for this deck, or that's the deck for this card. That's the situation when you'd want to play this. Um, cool. So yeah, it's just flexing. That's all it is. Um, yeah. So Jungle Worm from Mirage, interesting card. I definitely had some thoughts which I wasn't expecting upon first review, but Yeah, it's interesting. Man, our commons have come a long way, especially looking at Ikoria. Like the can you imagine? I'm just gonna throw that out there. Could you imagine mutating something on top of this? Because I really want my Dreamtail Heron to get weaker when it gets blocked. Oh, fun stuff. Anyway, and actually, like with Snapdax having double strike, let's make Snapdax, doubly less effective whenever he gets blocked. Oh man. Anyway, this is just I have some thoughts. I could ramble. But yeah. So Jungle Worm, it's interesting. More interesting than I expected. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. This has been Overthinking MTG, episode number, I think it's 71. Yeah, something like that. 71, 72, 72? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Overthinking MTG. This has been Jungle Worm. I have been Graham, also known as Hamhawks42 on the internet. You can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Hamhawks42. You can also get this show on YouTube or wherever you are listening to it right now, which is anywhere you can get your podcasts. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You're the best. I will catch you next time.